So turn off your television sets. Turn them off now. Turn them off right now. Turn them off and leave them off. Turn them off right in the middle of the sentence I'm speaking to you now. Turn them off.
It has been so long that I almost forgot how to do that. But welcome back, folks. I know you've forgotten about us. Hopefully, we still remain in your minds and your hearts. We
Kind
are
of,
back
sort of.
on last week's episode to talk about one of our favorite shows, The Bear. But before we get into that, B, how
Eh,
is it going?
I'm making it. Ronnie talked about my camera, y'all, so I had to go get another one, and it's weird, but I'm good. Hopefully, y'all can see me
Yeah.
okay.
So yeah, how like TV shows and like standard definition, like we used to watch those and think it was like high definition, but now you see it today and you're like, I can't believe things look that grainy. That's how Dee was looking prior to us recording. Like she
Shut
was like
up.
very grainy. But yeah, we made it. We are here to discuss the Bear season 3. So before we get to that, just I guess just to catch up. What have you been watching? You know,
In
would
general,
you care to share? Yeah, just in general.
I've watched The Bear. I've been watching The Acolyte. I have been watching. I think that might be it. Everything else is old, like Desperate Housewives. I finally decided to watch
Mhm.
that. Um, I'm doing a rewatch simultaneously of The Wire and Breaking Bad.
Ah,
And I was gonna rewatch Severance, but let's not get into that. We'll do that later because if I rewatch it now, I probably have to rewatch it again so that I can remember what happened. So that's what I've been watching. What about you?
to quote Kevin Garnett in Uncut Gems, why would you show me something that I can't have? But anyway, um, I what
So
have I been
annoyed.
watching currently? I haven't been watching. I've for the people out there, I finished school finally. Well, one phase of school, so I've been catching up on gaming. I just been like gaming a lot, so I haven't been watching anything. But I did pause to
You need to
watch
read
The
a
Bear
book.
season 3. I do need to read a book because The Bear season 3 is priority watching, and it still is. And to kick into our discussion, I want to start with a bit of a disclaimer. Not a disclaimer, but just I guess to
Kind of a
set the
disclaimer.
conversation, I want to say no, it's not a disclaimer at all. It's not a disclaimer at all because this isn't going to go the direction you think it's going to go. So, um,
Okay.
I saw a lot of let's say detractors out there taking their victory lap for some weird reason because apparently people find joy in people, having mixed opinions on something they dislike. So a lot of people were saying like, haha, we told you the bear
The
was
bear
always
sucks.
terrible simply
Hmm.
because people aren't feeling this season. But I will say, even so, this is gonna be my kickoff point to like jump straight into episode one. Even when this season still isn't as sharp as it should be, like
Hmm.
the quality is still there. It shows that the bar is so high that even when it's not as good, it's still better than a lot of stuff.
Oh,
Without go ahead.
you think it's okay? So you don't think it's bad? You rank the other seasons higher, right? Is that
So
it?
now allow me to be clear. Um, I did not I did not enjoy this season and a lot of decisions it made. But what I'm saying is, but no, what I'm saying is this is still a show that is like well made. It's
Hmm.
still a show that has great actors. This season still has a moment here or there, even though there are a few. So I say that to say, like, even though this season is going to be like forgotten in the grand scheme of things, even at its lowest, is still better than a lot of the shows. out there. So people who are happy that the
Mm.
bear didn't live up to expectations for the fans, still relax because it's still probably better than your favorite show.
What were the expectations?
Um, Also one I wanted to talk about. All right, so I talk about this a lot when we talk about TV shows. So basically, TV shows train you on how to watch them. Like when you watch a TV show, it establishes something, and you're like, okay, that's plausible in this world, or like, okay, that feels natural to this TV show. The one thing that The Bear established from the very first episode is like this breakneck pace. Like it's a 30-minute drama essentially, which is why it's
Hmm.
categorized as like a comedy, even though it's like a dramedy. But they squeeze a lot into those 30 minutes. Like it's zooming by. What I didn't like about this season is not only did they slow down the pace, is almost like stretching it out to like where like everything was happening in those 30 minutes, nothing happens. And sometimes nothing happens in 40 minutes. So
Mm.
that was
Hmm.
the frustrating part about this season overall.
Okay. Before we get into the breakdown, I got two more. Well, it's one question, two in one. What was your favorite episode of the season, and what was your least favorite? I know
All
my
right,
least favorite.
favorite episode was the first episode. Least favorite was the episode where Sugar was giving birth.
Hmm. That's my least favorite too. I don't have a I don't have a favorite, um, because I didn't. I'm not like you. I actually enjoyed the season, but not like the other two. So I still enjoyed it.
Mm.
But I don't have a favorite, but I definitely have a least favorite, and it was Sugar's birthday episode. I didn't enjoy it at all. Like at
Yeah,
all.
so
None of it.
since we're here,
None of it.
let me start big and talk about like some of my problems with this season. So, like I
Okay.
said, they stretched it out. It's very clear that this story was probably going to be like a season story. Oh yeah, by the way, Iban Moss Backrock, who plays excuse me if I mispronounce his name, who plays Richie. He said not only is there going to be a season 4, there's likely going to be a season 5. So just keep that in mind. But anyway,
Oh,
I
wait,
digress.
wait, wait.
Yeah,
Time out. Go back. Go back. I was looking at my notes and I heard season 5. When what? I thought 4 was it. I
yeah,
thought we
yeah. There could possibly be a season 5, which is. Go ahead.
with that, I hated this season then. If there if there's going to be a 5, this is terrible. Like I
Yeah.
liked this season because I felt like it was almost a we have it wrapped up, but they asked for more, so let's flesh it out a bit. And
Mhm,
I didn't
mhm.
hate it, but now if it's another season on top of I hate it then. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
It makes sense to me. If it's gonna be if there are 4 seasons, I'm okay with this season. If there are 5 seasons, I hate this season, and I will never watch it again ever.
Yeah, because this season, which is one of my main problems with it. Well, my main problem, not one of my problems. My main problem with it. This season is like you're listening to an album, and the album has like an interlude, and you're like, "Do I really need that interlude?" That's what this season feels like. It's like this is a very, very, very long bridge between 2 and 4.
You know what? I like that. Have you ever heard? You've heard Life Jennings' album, right? The first one.
Oh my god, yes, so many skits.
It's an amazing album though. So the very first time you hear the album, you listen to the skits because they work with the story. And then
Yeah,
after that, you're just kind of like, okay, I don't need this anymore. I like that
right.
because again, these are things that are important to the story.
Mhm,
Um, but you don't have to have them to still have a very, very enjoyable series. That was
mhm.
a very good analogy. Good job. I like it.
All right, so the next thing that I didn't like about this season is season 2 was very cameo heavy, but in a very organic way. This season,
Mhm.
it felt forced. Like like it makes sense. It makes sense that John Cena is a fact, but that felt kind of forced. And
He's totally a fact though. Like it works because he would be
yeah,
a
yeah, it
fact.
works. And I hate it. And some people may not like this, but I hated the sugar episode. Is because Jamie Lee took the character just a little too far, in my opinion. Where it was like it took me out of it. I'm like, all right, she's doing a little too much in this capacity.
See, I disagree. I disagree. It
Yeah,
made
because
it made me look at Donna a little bit differently. Not as a well, only because
oh no,
I don't want to. We'll
let
get
me
into it
sorry,
once
let
we
me
start.
interject.
Yeah.
I mean like just strictly like the acting, how they wrote
Oh, you
Donna
mean
is I'm okay
strictly
with,
character work?
but the
Okay.
right, right.
Okay. All right. All right. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, those
She
are
was
my
excited.
problems with season 3. But let's get into episode 1. It did this very like kind of like I guess like staccato like storytelling where it was like scenes spliced within scenes. But I would it made me excited about this season because I was like, okay, so we're finally going to like unpack like Carmi's career as a chef. We're going to see the many chefs before him who made him the chef that he is today. And it did it in a way where it was kind of like it was kind of like a dream sequence. It was like this is what we see when like Carmi is like laying on the couch having insomnia. Like this is what goes through his mind. It's like these fragments and thoughts. And it just really worked for me the way that they did this episode. I know some people were like, oh, it's like sensory overload, it's too much, but I actually really like how they did this episode. And it shows the strength of the bear, which is like we're going to tell you something by like just showing it to you instead of like just saying it out loud because this episode actually says a lot without not saying much at all.
I liked the first episode. Also, I found myself thinking, like you said, that I think maybe I've just been trained on how to watch the show because I'm a
Mm,
person that would historically see that and be like, "Oh my god, this is boring." Like there wasn't much dialogue,
mm,
and it wasn't much action. It was just like you said, it was just things that were just kind of out there. But because I know everything else and I'm interested in knowing what Carmi has gotten to go to, I mean, has gone through to get to where he is, it did interest me. As far as the episode goes though, I there were also things like the apologies, and you could see, mostly for me, because I guess people will call me a Carmi apologist. I'm okay with it. I am. I'm okay with it. But I see it helped me see that he does like what he does. Like, because Copenhagen, he was just, it was like joy, and you don't see that much in his face. You don't really see him happy. You see him okay, and you see him smile or
mm,
whatever else. But in Copenhagen, it was almost like he was just immersed in the things that he loves. So I like to see that part, and I like you said, I liked mostly all of that, and then the smaller parts were a bit much for me, like him and Richie and him and Sydney and all of that good stuff. It's just it was kind of a lot, um, because I still believe, and I'm gonna talk about you again. Um, I don't feel like anybody ever apologizes to Carmen, and I don't understand why that's okay. Like I really just don't, because first season we already know how I feel about Sydney. She still owes him an apology, and I'm gonna say it till I'm blue in the face. Um, and the other thing about Sydney, with you, Mr. Sydney, apologies. Um,
I'm not. What?
you you agreed that he was way out of line for talking about Richie's child, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Sydney did the same thing to Richie. And you were like, well, he deserved it. See, Sydney apologist. And I don't understand
But
why
right.
why
But I'm not.
you are. Because if it was wrong when Carmen did it, it was wrong when Sydney did it. Like it was wrong to do. And on top of that, Carmen was reacting because Richie called him Donna and he knew how that would make him feel. He did that to hurt
Mhm.
him, purposefully to hurt him because he knew how that it would affect him. So him lashing out about that makes more sense to me than Sydney because she was just pissed off at him. Now he was getting on her nerves, but again, nobody apologizes to him. And I think Carmen even said it. You should apologize to me. And Richie was kind of like, or not. And he didn't. So I
Mm.
don't understand why nobody thinks that he ever deserves an apology when they do something to him. It's almost like whatever. You'll be all right.
I
Anything to
didn't
say?
I didn't know I came here to be attacked personally. Wow.
You
I
ain't
thought
being
we were
I'm
here
just saying. I'm
to
just saying.
discuss a TV show.
Cause my thing is Sydney. I like
Uh-huh.
Sydney.
Uh-huh.
I like
Uh-huh.
now. This is true. Now you
Uh-huh.
can debate me on Claire. I like Sydney though, for real. I actually like Sydney,
Uh-huh.
but I just think she needs to own up to her shit. And from what
Well,
I've seen from people that talk about her and everything else, she's just this. It's almost like Claire. She's just this poor little girl who's trying to make it, and anything she does in the path to that is okay because she means well. And that's not cool.
yeah, we'll talk about that later. And I guess this is now a good time um to talk about, like, I guess the big revelation of this first episode. So going back to season one, Sydney makes the short rib and risotto, and she sends it out
Mm,
to
the food
a
critic.
random guy who turns out to be a food critic. We
Mhm.
see Carmi with I'm gonna call him Joel McHale because, like, I hate his character so much. But yeah, his character is like, yeah, basically strip down this dish, everything you'd like about it, and almost this kind of like a fuck you. Carmi adds the blood orange and adds the potato chip back, sends it out to someone, and that someone happens to be Sydney. And we remember that she said she wanted to work for Carmi because she had the best meal ever in New York, and Carmi was the chef. And
Mhm.
also, like I said, I think the potato chip is like a nice little nod to also the omelet that Sydney made for sugar. So yeah, like basically we see how they kind of like mirror each other. Like they are kind of like they're kind of like rebellious, and I guess you could say like Sydney now is at the point that Carmi was at that point. So that's why they kind of have like this mentor mentee relationship.
That helped me a lot too because in your defense, I couldn't understand why Sydney didn't just accept that he's better than she is. But I understand better now because it's not that he's just so much better as a chef. It's just that it's subjective, I guess. You know what I mean? Like there is a technical
Mm.
a side of it, but just because you think the dish needs acid doesn't mean that it does. Everybody else said it was fire, and I remember that because I was like, well, everybody else thought it was good, but he knows better because he was the CDC at a restaurant with a Michelin star. But that doesn't mean he does know best. And now I understand that, and I get the
Mm.
frustration because he is an excellent chef. And since you're gonna call him Joe McHale, I will too. His name's David, but Joe McHale did the same thing to him.
Joe McHale.
So yeah, so if Joe did it to him and Carmen's a great chef, then I have to accept that Sydney is too. And Carmen doesn't know everything. He just
Mm.
wanted it the way he wanted it. And for them to have an actual partnership, that's not how a partnership's gonna work. I don't know how
Uh,
it's gonna work because I don't know how the industry works, but like who gets the final say?
Also,
I guess he does, but
also yeah, you raised a good point, and it's something I want to ask you because I feel like it's kind of like a plot point that was there, but they were afraid to take it there because they don't want to like strip anything away from like Carmen's character. The old adage, never meet your heroes. What am I trying to say? A deconstruction of like the genius myth. Like, oh, this person is a genius, they know everything, they have it all together. But once you actually meet them, you're like, hmm. So
Mm.
we clearly see where like Sydney is like, she's like, dude, like, are you like, are you built like this? Because I'm not seeing it now. And I feel like they were like scared to like really like take it there. So they kind of like just kind of like stayed in the middle with it. It was so
Mhm.
did you like kind of like pick up on that?
I did. So remember when they were cooking together? Um,
Hmm.
and I kept asking you, well, can she cook? Because she keeps fucking up all the dishes. Like,
Hmm.
what is it? And again, looking at it from a different set of eyes, maybe she wasn't messing them up. Maybe she's just like, this doesn't make sense. So trying to cook it in
Hmm.
the way he does, she's just kind of like, nah, this doesn't work.
Like watching if he's saying like, yeah, lose this, lose that, lose this. You're like, damn, can she cook? But at the same time, when he's like making stuff and like and you see him just flying off the handle and you see the reviews where it's like, oh, this is like very like scattered brained, like
Mhm.
you're almost like, hmm.
And I think it's because Joe really, really messed him up, right? So it's like,
Mhm.
the you ever okay, so I was studying for a test once and I knew the answers. I knew all the answers because I had studied for it. I was studying with somebody. I gave them the answer. They said it was wrong. And I'm like, wait, it's wrong? And then he's like, oh, I'm just joking. It's right. So the next day I went to take the test. That question, I got to it. I couldn't remember whether I was right or not.
Mhm.
So the whole point is, it's like once somebody's in your head, they in there. And I think every decision that Carmi makes, it can be an excellent dish, but the first thing he thinks about is subtract, 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 subtract,
Mhm.
subtract. So he's kind of messed it up for himself, and he's still amazing, I guess. But did he go? Because he went from Joe's restaurant to Ever, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so he must have still been doing something well because he was doing well at Ever. But there's also a reason she sent him to Copenhagen.
Yeah.
So like I don't know. I can't, because he inherited the star again. So I don't know now where he is. And that's not to say that I don't think he's a magnificent chef. He has to be, because everybody says his food is great, but like, is it? Because
So
have his dishes, what has he made, like outside of what he sent to Sydney? What are his signature dishes? Does he have them?
you raise a good point because here's my thing. So also what the first episode shows us is like a lot of things he was making was like from pure inspiration, like being out in the field, seeing like the green, seeing like the plants, like those inspired his dishes. His inspiration now is to basically like, oh, let me show them that I can do it, let me show them that I've finally made it here.
Hmm.
And when like, and this is just any like facet of life, like where your motivations aren't like right, that throws off the process. Because for him to, because the dishes they came up with, like it seemed like they worked when they
Hmm.
had the test run, but he was like, yeah, scrap all of this. And like he like shut out like input from like everybody. So now his motivation is just purely like, oh, let me prove my own genius. But it's kind of wild because in trying to prove his own genius, like he like that might actually be like the destruction of his genius because he's not listening to anybody else, he's not inspired. And yeah, he like he it seems like he's hitting on some stuff, but it's mostly like, okay, this isn't as good as it can be. Why? Because you aren't listening to anybody. You aren't, you aren't using, you aren't, because if he would have, and I'm jumping ahead now, but I'm pretty sure if he would have just had one conversation with Tina about her cauliflower dish, they could have worked that into
Hmm.
the menu. And it's like he's like closed off, and he's like, by closing himself off, he's like deconstructing his own like genius. When there's a story here, which is you can't get there on your own.
Okay. I want to slide into the non-negotiables from that. All right, so
Yes.
here's my take on the non-negotiables. By pure definition, non-negotiable means we're not even going to talk about it. This is a thing
Hmm.
that has to happen. Okay.
Hmm.
So my my I guess conflict is they want a star. Like, well, Sydney wants a star. And he wants to give Sydney a star. He's decided Sydney wants a star. We're going to get the star. Okay. He's the only person who knows what that takes to maintain.
Hmm.
Like
Uh-huh.
how to get there, whatever, but he knows what it takes to maintain. So a part of me is like, if the man says this is what it takes to get a star, this is what it takes to get a star. You want the star. We can't talk about it. However, back to your point on you can't get there alone, there has to be a discussion
Hmm.
about what is feasible. And
Hmm.
then you say these things are non-negotiable, right?
Hmm.
So it's a conflict in itself because, like I said before,
Hmm.
non-negotiable means we there's no talking about it, there's no conversation, there's no compromise. This is it. But there
Hmm.
should have been a conversation, and I guess they should have, as a team, decided what would be non-negotiable for
Right.
the bear, and not like Carmi can't say this is a non-negotiable. The team needs to say this is the goal, this is what we can do, this is what's feasible, this is what I can handle, and then make things non-negotiable from that.
Hmm.
Right. So if I say to you, Ronnie, we're doing a podcast,
Hmm.
and you say, okay, I say the only way I can record is at night. That is non-negotiable, right? I can't come
Hmm.
to you and say,
Right.
we're only recording at night, period. This is what it takes to create a podcast, because that's not true. Like, that's something that I am
Hmm.
doing for myself. So it could have worked. And I think that is his main problem. Like you said, he also, I think, got in his head and said, I am the person who knows what it takes to get a star. So I need to make these rules, and they just got to fall in line. The Joel came out, and they can't maintain that. Like, his staff can't, he can't maintain it, but his staff for sure can't handle it. So it was never going to work, ever. I don't think. Maybe. Maybe. Oh, you frozen. I can hear you
I'm back.
if you're talking. Okay, you back. So, do
Oh yeah, I'm
you,
back.
with that all that said, um, how do you how do you think Sydney handled the non-negotiables? Like, was there a way for her to handle it differently? Her, I guess anybody, her, Sugar, Richie, anybody. Should there have been a different way they went about it instead of just printing it and saying, okay? Because again, it's non-negotiable, so it's not like we can talk about it.
Richie Carbon. They got to bury the hatchet. They got to
They
bury the
got
hatchet.
to.
So,
It's so frustrating because,
hmm,
like, because again, me being a Carmi apologist, he called, he apologized, and Richie is like just not taking it and not taking any accountability for himself, especially because most of it started because you're mad at him about Claire. We're not gonna get into it, I promise, but I just want to put it out there.
uh,
Please go ahead.
sure. But all right. Also with um with Carmi and Sid, I guess. All right. So,
Hmm.
and by the way, let me reveal something about myself. I am
He's a Sydney
very much in.
apologist.
No, I was about to because what I was going to lead into might actually like shock you and dispel what you just said. But I
Okay.
am very much into organizational culture. So
Mhm.
most people think communication within organizations flows top down, but it flows top down, then it floats bottom up. All right.
You
So
mean two-way communication?
exactly. So if I have to tell leadership what I expect out of them, and leadership then has to tell me what they expect out of me.
Mhm.
All right, so if I am working on a project, like, because like in my real life, like what I do for work, like we're currently in the midst of a big project. If my boss came in tomorrow and just said, "We're scrapping that," we're we're just scrapping that. We're not doing all of that. I'm gonna have a talk. But at the same time, like, it's my boss's responsibility to say, "Hey, what do you think about this? Like, I'm thinking about doing this. I'm like, do you have any input?" S- Um, and that also changes. I mean, we have to acknowledge the world we live in. That also changes when there is money involved. When there's
So
money
much money.
involved and there are names on paper, you have to talk to people. You can't just let it ride. Like if this was a situation where she was there in the capacity, because I was softer on her when like she was just like a line cook, but now that she is, well, she was never a line cook. She was a sous chef, but now that she's, but
Mm,
now that she's the chef,
mhm.
like you have a responsibility to speak up. Like you can't talk around it. You have the responsibility to speak up and say like, "Hey, man." And she, like I said, she tried to talk around it, but no, you have to say, like, "Hey, you can't be changing the dishes like this. Like I want you to actually remember the meal that you prepared last week. You like you have to let front of house know what you're doing so they can run their operation. Like basically that is also your responsibility as an employee. So it's just bad all around because no one's talking, no one's communicating. Because here's the thing, like also in organizational culture, you don't have to like people, but for those hours that you're together, you just have to work with each other, and they aren't accomplishing any of that.
But what if Ronnie, I was offered a job and I said let me think about it, but I didn't get back to the employer.
Well, I
How much
mean,
how much say do I really have? Do I
I
do
don't know, because I
am I
mean,
an employee? Do I work here?
because I
Am I a
mean,
part of the
because
team?
I'm not
what
gonna
what am
lie,
what
I
am I
have
doing?
I mean in my personal life, I have been known to entertain offers and to say like, hey, let me sleep on that. So in this case, no, but I do say you have, yeah, you just have an obligation to respond to those offers in a reasonable amount of time.
In a reasonable amount of time,
Well,
especially if the person also says to you, "Hey, you should sign that soon, so we know what the fuck is up."
mm,
Could you do that for me? Could you say that you are a part of this, or could you not? Because it is, to me, it is unfair already. Okay, so let's start because I want to go back to season one. Um, I think also my big issue with Sydney was I didn't see her as a partner because I ain't see any money. And that's just it might not be, but that's just the truth, right?
she wasn't getting paid at all, so yeah.
Sydney wasn't getting paid at all. And that's what made me back off a little bit. But Sydney also, for all intents and purposes, didn't have anything to lose at that point. Did she put up any money towards the restaurant at all? Any money? The money that they used for the bear came from Mikey stealing from Cicero
Yeah.
and them getting a flat out loan from him. So all of the money that they have, all of the what's the word? All of the stakes were on the Brazados
Mhm,
because the business are is owned by Sugar and
mhm.
Carmi at this point, right? And Cicero.
But so I'm gonna be, so I'm also going to be fair here and say let's talk about why she might be hesitant, because with this partnership deal,
Mhm.
she now has stake in the restaurant, which means if it fails, like you are a partner now. You're not just an employee, like you're a partner now. And considering that she just lost yeah, she's recovering from like her catering business. So that's why she's a bit hesitant. I'm not excusing. I just wanted to point that out because yeah, like becoming a partner is a big responsibility. I mean, maybe like talk that out, maybe decline. I don't know. But that is a big responsibility. I think what she's weighing with here is, and we'll get to this later because we've talked out offline about like the potential relationship here. But you meet this brilliant chef and you could work under him and you could become like one of the best chefs in the country like he is. Or you can go to an environment where there's a lot of unknowns about the chef you'll be working under, but you have more freedom. You'll probably have better financial backing, and it'll probably be a more organized environment. So this is basically like the dilemma we face as adults. Like, oh, like this is my dream job, but this job in this industry that I don't really want to work in it is paying a lot more. So which one do I do? That's kind of like a more simplified version of it, but I feel like that's kind of what she's juggling with these two things. Because like do we know that Shapiro is a great chef? Like, yeah, he worked on the Chef Terry, but do we like know a lot about him or like
I also have a question about him. Does
uh
he what how does he feel about Carmen? And I'm only asking this because I don't think I was just trying to figure out if he was a hater or not, right? Like
uh-huh.
mostly because when he was talking to Sydney, he said the dish was very not Carmen. So does that mean, like, what does that mean? Do you not like Carmen's dishes? Do you think that's it's fresh, it's new? Like
Mm,
you could just tell that it wasn't his,
mm,
which is fair. But is there also some underlying something behind it? Because would he have been, because I'm assuming he's the CDC forever. Yes,
mm,
that's what he was.
mm.
Would Carmen have been the CDC of ever if he didn't leave?
All right. So here was my initial thought. All right. So I'm not going to pretend to know a lot about the restaurant industry, but I will
If y'all know,
say
tell us. Because I know
I will
nothing
say, I
either.
will say, based on the show and the rules they establish, it seems very cutthroat, but at the same time, an unwritten rule is that you do not poach employees from people. So um, taking someone's shelf is like, don't stab me in the back next time. Just shoot me directly in the face.
Mhm.
Like that's a very intentional move. So I can see a world where Shapiro and well, it might be one sided. I'm not gonna say it's like it might
Yeah.
it might it might be a little one sided. Also, I'm glad we
You a
brought up
peacock.
Shapiro because I wanted to. Yeah, no. But I wanted to. Oh, yeah, me and Peacock. Yeah, Peacock is my op, and they don't know it yet. But I want to mention this. I want to mention this. It's very important. All right,
Mhm.
Chef Adam Shapiro. Do you know the name of the actor?
I don't know his name. He's familiar, but I don't know his name. What is it?
His name is Adam Shapiro. Now, I tell you
Oh,
that
okay.
because in 2020 to 2023, he played in the show called Never Have I Ever. Do you know the name of the character in that show?
Carmen Brazato. Adam
No, it
Shapiro.
was it was Mr. Shapiro. For some reason, he has played multiple characters
He's Mr.
named
Shapiro.
Adam
Okay.
Shapiro as Adam
Okay.
Shapiro. I don't know. I just wanted to mention that, but um, But
I
yeah, I
respect
do
it.
I do sense a little something there. I don't think that's a
Well,
misread either.
because the reason I'm asking is it's not only saying let me pull her because she's talented. I'm not taking away from Sydney, but is it let me pull her because she's talented and I get to see Carmi fail
Mhm.
because now I've
Yeah,
taken
because
his ship.
if I'm opening up a like I don't know if I'm opening up a car dealership, like
Hmm.
like and your car dealership is doing pretty well, I'm gonna take your best salesman. Like
Yeah.
so,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, I that's kind of how I see it. Like it's kind of like let me undercut you because I mean I do think there is some recognition of like Carmen's skill and but at the same time it's like oh no, let me make sure you don't succeed by undercutting you.
I, and okay, and this okay, so go back to Sydney for me because again, I'm still like I guess confused on the initial part of it because yes, she does go to work for Carmi, and I think my just the biggest part of confusion is why does she get so much of a say in the restaurant when she hasn't when again she doesn't have anything to lose and I'm when I mean lose I mean money because she doesn't put any money for it. She hasn't put any money into it, or has she? Like, am I missing that part? Because it
Well,
looks like she
she's
just
if
kind
she
of walked in and
signs
was like,
well if she
she hasn't
signs that
signed yet.
partner.
No, no,
I know,
no, no.
but
I'm
that's what I'm
saying,
saying. But I know that's what I'm saying. So if she signs the partnership agreement, like
okay,
she will like some of the debt is hers to carry.
okay, okay. Well, then that makes sense. Then I wasn't looking at that part of it. I was just thinking because from what I gathered, if the place fails, then Cicero just gets it all. Because remember, they say he gets the building and the land. So I figured they would just be square.
Yeah, because I mean, this is they're going to partnership with Cicero, Sugar, Carmi, and Sid. They're the
Hmm.
partners. So it's a like, in my opinion, it's presented almost like an LLC where like you put in together, but what you like your debt is yours, but it's still your debt if it fails.
Okay.
So
Okay. Okay. Well, that makes more sense to me then, because I'm just like I didn't even when she was at the bear, um, because so many people were kind of talking like, well, if I had a favorite sandwich shop and then somebody just comes in and makes it, you know, something totally different, I'd be pissed off too. And I'm like, I agree, but it wasn't just Carmen. Like, Sid had a whole plan. She did, and she came out of nowhere. Like she just, to me, it seems like
mhm.
she came out of nowhere and was like, "Hey, this place can be great. Let's just tear it up and then start something else." And I'm just like, well, almost who are you to come in and just fix everything or change everything? And I just didn't get it, and I still honestly don't get it. And not that she didn't have good ideas. I'm just like, this is wild. I
Well,
wish
that
I could
makes
do that.
him that makes him the world's most terrible boss if he's like that impressionable. But I say that to say that he had big ideas too. And I think that's why they kind of have like that relationship because like it's almost like confirmation bias. Like hearing it from someone like, oh, my idea that I want to change this restaurant doesn't sound so crazy because now you're telling it to me. So yeah, the
Idea
idea
was
was
already
there.
there.
So yeah.
So it was like a timing thing. It just happened that
Hmm.
she just came at the right time, pretty much, which is good. I mean,
Hmm.
I think that's great. Okay, see, it makes more sense to me now because I'm just like, how do you just come out of nowhere and be like, okay, this is what we're gonna do? And I do blame him for that. I want to say, him just making her whatever she was, that fancy French name for it. Um,
Hmm.
that was a lot. That was a lot because I couldn't imagine working somewhere for however long and then I get a new boss, and then he just brings somebody in and was
Hmm.
like, okay, whatever y'all were doing, y'all system, whatever, screw your system. This is what we're doing now. I think I would have a hard time getting over that too. It was a lot in a very short amount of time. They should really give more thanks to their staff because they were able to pivot very well and very quickly, and they don't get enough credit for
Hmm.
that. Even Tina was a jerk, but I get it. I understand. I think it was still too much, but I do. I mean, I do get it. I guess.
So yeah, which version of Tina? This variant Tina or the Tina that we meet in season one? Because
The
I want
season
to
one
point
Tina
this
to
out
me
to
is the real Tina. I don't
I
know who
want
that variant is.
so I want to point this out too. Um, the show created a continuity error because in season one, Tina says, "I've been in this restaurant since Mikey and Carmen was in diapers," and um I guess we are to believe that we are retconning that to like her just talking shit and lying. But in this season, we learned that Tina loses her job and she goes to the beef one day. She gets a sandwich. Mikey talks to her, and then that's where he offers her the job. So she hasn't been there that long, even though like in season one, it's presented that she's been working there like pretty much forever. Like she was just like a line cook like forever. So continuity error. Just wanted to point that out.
And to make it worse, they actually could have gotten away with it, but they dug their heels in because not only um did they establish that she wasn't working there, she hadn't been there because she didn't even know what the sandwich was. Like they could have left that part out and made it, oh,
Mm,
okay, well, we just
mhm,
assumed she meant work there, when in
mm,
actuality she's just meant she's been going there or she's been at the store for all this long. But no. And if they try to say the whole diapers thing, just saying that they were young, I think that's bullcrap too, because you don't say diapers
mm.
unless you literally
Yeah,
mean, since they
yeah.
were kids, and that's not the case. I do think I like that version though of how they met because I like that Richie just was like, "Hey, you seem like you having a bad day. He's getting on my nerves. Eat this sandwich. Have a great day." And he was
Mm,
he was already nice to her. So to me, that kind of fits into Richie kind of being made almost for the job he has now. What's it called?
mhm.
What does he do? Well, the stuff he does at front of house. That seems like
Yeah.
that's fitting for him because he's a nice guy. He was nice to her. He didn't know her. He was just friendly to her, hospitable. So he's already hospitable.
Mhm,
So it worked for his character. But Tina, I don't know. No, I didn't like her. I didn't hate her episode because I liked Mikey. I liked the conversation they had. I liked the showing how hard it was for her
mm,
to figure it out and how she's determined, her determination. But the storyline itself,
mm,
meh,
mm.
didn't move
I mean,
me.
I was about to say shout out to Io Debris though, because that's the first episode she directed, so kudos to her. But yeah, I do think that there's definitely some. I guess they're trying to like push Tina character to like the forefront and give her some shine, which I'm not mad at because I've grown to like Tina's character. But yeah, it didn't really land in my opinion. Like it wasn't
Mm-mm,
it wasn't earned. Yeah.
it didn't. You want to talk about Marcus because he wants
Yeah,
to start
sure.
to um his mom's funeral, the speech. Um, I only thing I pulled from it, and I'm sorry, whatever. I pulled from it when he was saying that they didn't, because they didn't speak a lot, they didn't talk a lot, they had to really pay attention to each other. And I
Hmm.
felt like that was a moment that the staff would have taken, or Carmi would have taken, or or
Mm,
Sydney would have taken and thought, oh, okay, we need to pay attention to each other
mm,
because um in Sydney's defense, I guess, I do think she should speak up more, but I think Carmen should also pay attention and realize
mhm,
that whatever he's saying isn't landing. Whether she says it or not, they're not landing. And if they were actually in sync, if they were paying attention, he would see it. She should still speak up, but there also should be some part of your relationship where you realize that the person you're in, whatever, the person that you're in this relationship
mm,
is having a hard time with whatever it is
mm,
you're telling them or doing or whatever else. So on his end, he should pay more attention to her. And from her side of it, she should realize that he's not
mm,
understanding what she's saying, even because I honestly think he thinks he understands what she's saying. Like he thinks that whatever they're
He
having,
thinks
whatever
so,
issue they're
yeah.
having is resolved, but she doesn't. And I may have been reading it wrong, but do you remember the scene when they were talking about when she was like, it's hard to keep up with you?
Mm,
And he was like, oh, it was, I've been doing this long. And she was like, well, I didn't mean the food. You remember that?
mm, mhm.
Okay, so I picked up from that um when because he was like, I don't want it to be hard for me for you to keep up with me. And she was just like, okay. I picked up from that he understood what she was saying and was going to and wanted to make it better. From her body language, what I saw was that she still was just like, you don't get it. But she didn't say anything. And I
Yeah,
may have read
she
it
didn't say
wrong.
anything
Yeah, I may
because
have read it
in
wrong,
my
but I just
yeah, no. I don't think that's a misreading because it's almost like D, like you're telling me how I deeply hurt you, and my response is like, well, I'm sorry that you feel that way. Like it was
yeah.
almost like it wasn't that, but it was almost like that. And your response like, okay, well, you still don't understand why I'm upset, but like you don't say it, like, but at the same time, like not picking up on that visual cue because like her,
Mhm.
I mean, her body language doesn't, you know, leave anything to imagination either, but he
Mhm.
doesn't pick up on those cues either. So they're not in sync like that. He doesn't anticipate and he doesn't like read her body language either.
Yeah. Speaking of body language, I'm gonna talk about Claire right quick. Um, I stand
Mhm.
by um
Uh,
I stand by what I say about her character being poorly written. I do. Because I think a mistake, and I've said this before, a lot of times I see in film that people are written, couples are written to do things slowly, and it's supposed to make you think that they feel a way about each other, right? So there was a scene in season two, or a few scenes where they showed Carmi and Claire um almost like having sex. I'm assuming they were having sex because they didn't show it, thank God, but it was implied they were having sex. They were in a bed, and everything is slow, and they're just like romantic, and the lights are a certain way and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, just because they're having um sex and there's this montage, that doesn't mean he likes her. And I don't like that that's what they try to imply, because I never grasped that he really really liked her. I felt like he was dating her, and not that he disliked her. I don't want to say it like that.
mhm.
I think he liked her. I never grasped that he was in love with her, like they were trying to kind of making it look. For me, that's not what I got. When I saw him in Copenhagen, I'm like, oh, he's in love with Copenhagen. I see that. But with Claire was almost, him just shaking his head. Mhm. And I went, like he always does. And it was just like, oh, okay. And her very much comforting him and almost
Because
coddling and babying him.
because it's easier to pour into a place than a person. Like if I go to
Okay.
if I go to like Six Flags, I'm like, man, I really love it at Six Flags. Like Six Flags isn't gonna hurt me for loving Six Flags, but it's harder to pour into a person because you don't know, like basically like knowing what you know about yourself. You're like, man, if I love this person like I love Six Flags, then they might, I might, I might mess this up. I mean, you can always go back to Six Flags though. You get what I'm saying? Like I feel like
I get it.
he was like, I could tell that he really likes her, but he was at the same time scared of it.
And that's fine. That's fine. But I think I felt it more. That the point that you got me to the point where I'm at now. I saw it more, that
Mhm.
the little part in this season when they were just talking to each other. Like it was traumatic when she was talking about the girl that broke all her bones. I was like,
Oh
girl,
yeah,
this is
yeah, yeah.
this is depressing as hell. But the conversation they were having, the way they were speaking to each other, the way he wanted to be around her, I didn't get that from first season. And if they had shown me
Mm.
that conversation versus them being in bed slowly, her taking slow strokes, that doesn't move me. Like it It doesn't move me. You can put somebody through a mattress and be more in love with them than just having this slow, intimate, oh, this is so great, because it's not, that doesn't mean that we love each other because we're intimate in this way. I'm just saying.
Why did you say
I
that
mean,
as I was taking a sip? Like I had to.
just being realistic. All I'm saying is slow dancing or love making, as they try to make it appear in this film, doesn't move me like this real conversation, this him wanting to be around her, him, because
Yeah.
even the fire suppression test, that didn't even feel, that was him being nervous and her calming him down. This was a conversation that was about her, that she was talking to him, that he was truly interested in because he wanted to hear her talk about it. I didn't get that from last season. That's all I'm saying.
Mhm.
I buy it now
Well,
that he liked her. I didn't see it before. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. And I still think, again, that everybody else liked the idea of them more than he did. And like you said, it may have been because he knew this might not be what I'm ready for right now or what I can provide. It was just annoying to me that they were treating her like this, like I said, porcelain doll that had to be carried very slowly because she's a little girl. Like Richie literally said, "What did you say to her? What did you say to that little girl? Like, what are we doing? What are we
Nah,
doing? He's
you
stuck in
are.
the freezer. We ain't got time for this right now. Let's move on."
His ass should still be in the freezer if you ask me. But anyway,
Leave that man alone.
um,
But the point is, he likes Claire, and I believe it now. So if he wants to be with her,
okay.
great.
I'm the biggest hater. I hate the way you walk, hate the way you talk, hate the way that
Hate
you
the way
dress.
hate the way she sneak this, all that. I hate it. But no, seriously, it's fine. And again, you see the facts went up to the hospital to talk to. Like, what are we doing?
No,
Why
no,
are we,
now that's ridiculous. Now that's ridiculous.
thank
Don't
you.
show
Like,
up
come
at
on, man.
people's. Don't
Just
like. I don't
be.
care if she. I don't care if she works at Boost Mobile. Don't show up at her place of employment. But she works at a hospital. She works at a hospital. You cannot show up at a hospital and try to. Yeah.
If Carmen wanted to apologize, he would. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Doesn't mean he doesn't love her, because obviously he does. Whatever. I'm just not buying it. And maybe it's just because I can't recognize that form of love, right? Like I don't see it as love. I feel like if you love somebody, then you should love them, and you not doing whatever it is, and you, like you said, talking to her through the freezer, which still I think was an exaggeration, but I'm gonna let that go too. But if he wanted to talk to her, he should. It's not an exaggeration, because I agree with you. What he said was messed up, but I also think
You just
that
said it was exaggerated. Just you're like, so you just said like, I did not put my shoes on his couch. Yeah, I put my shoes on his couch.
The reaction was an exaggeration because he wasn't talking to her. I think it is fair. It's fair that you don't vent to other people. You don't vent to other people. You don't vent to other people.
But you gotta
There
be
are
careful what
things
you
you
say
would
to other
say.
people.
Yes, but that conversation, if he was having it with somebody else, they could have told him, "Oh, Carmen, you're saying this and blah 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 blah." And there's a way they could have told him, "You really don't mean that," and he could have said that. But him saying it directly to her is hurtful. I get that, but you should be able to vent. She wasn't supposed to be there.
But I mean, and we could get into semantics, but I actually think that would have gone better if he would have talked about his fears and anxieties with her directly.
Okay, so why didn't it go off better? Because he was talking to her directly. He said it to her directly. He didn't know he was talking to her directly. I'm just saying, hey, you brought it up, so tell me, why didn't it go well then? If she heard it directly, why didn't it go off well? Why was she so angry about it?
Because that wasn't a conversation he was having with D. Come on, D. That wasn't a conversation he was having with her. So to hear it in that manner, in that context, you're like, damn, you like, it's almost like, so where do you see this going? Like, I thought this was going good, and now I'm hearing this. Like, you can talk to me about this directly.
Yeah, but she didn't do that. She just walked off and said, "I'm sorry you feel that way," right? Like, they haven't had a conversation.
Of course, because Oh shit! I just knocked over my water bottle. But yeah, of course, because
Really upset. I just think we don't see eye to
I'm
eye
not.
because
I'm not upset.
again,
This is just a big ass water bottle. Yeah.
this might be my the karma apologies, and that's fine. I can accept that. All I'm saying is, I think it's unfair for you to hold something against me because I was feeling away and I was venting to somebody that I trusted, and you heard it. You should
Mhm.
be careful what you say. You should. And there are some things I don't say out loud because I know how hurtful it would be if it got back to whoever it is. But there are also some things that I would never say to somebody I love, but that I have to say. Like I have to.
Uh huh.
I have to. I
Uh
guess that's
huh.
why you get a therapist, right?
I reckon so.
I guess. Anyway. What Claire, all I'm saying is if you want to come back, baby, come on. You ain't gonna get no hate from me. That's all I'm
Well, I
saying.
feel like she is going to feature prominently in season 3.5.
It better not be a season 5. I can't. I don't want to deal with it. I don't. How did you take the news of Ever closing? Were you surprised?
I was surprised because I mean, given how we seen Chef Terry, like like she definitely strikes you as the person who was like, yeah, I'm gonna go out on top on my own terms. Like
Mhm.
I'm just like I've reached that level where I'm so good at this that I like it doesn't hurt me to just walk away from it. And I think like no matter where you are in life, like that's probably like what we all aspire to be to where like, yeah, I have nothing else to cross off my list. I've done it all. I could just walk away. So yeah, like I did take that as like she was just like, yeah, I'm done with it.
I have a question. Where does Luca work and live? Does he live in Chicago? Does he work at Ever? What does he? What? Where does he work?
No, I think he's still in Copenhagen.
So he came from Copenhagen for the funeral.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just. I mean, I was asking. It just seems like a lot.
Mhm.
Copenhagen is far, far away. it's,
I
it's
mean,
far,
yeah,
far
but
away.
if this is the chef you trained under,
The
then
funeral.
yeah.
And I'm only
Yeah.
asking because my thought was why didn't Shapiro get Luca if he was already under Chef Terry? Or why didn't Carmi or will Carmi get Luca if Sydney leaves? But if he's in Copenhagen, then it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
I'm just
Mhm.
curious. I mean, I'm glad he was back. It was nice to see him, but just curious.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking he went to Copenhagen, but I guess he was just already there. So he just
Yeah,
lives
he
there?
was already there.
Because
Yeah.
he when he was working with Carmen, wasn't that at Ever? Was that not at Ever?
I don't think that was at Ever, no.
Where was that? It couldn't have been in Copenhagen because Copenhagen wasn't a restaurant, right? That was just like
Because
a school
I
almost.
because I remember when Luca was talking to Marcus, he was like, because he was talking about being in Europe. He was like, yeah, this chef was kicking my
Okay.
ass, and yeah.
Okay. So there. Okay. Okay. I don't understand it, but I'm gonna let it ride.
Mhm.
Because wasn't Shapiro there too, or am I making it up? There were
I don't
three of
remember.
them when they were peeling the peas. Maybe it was somebody else. It may not have been Shapiro. It may have
Yeah,
been somebody.
I don't think it was
Okay.
our man Adam Shapiro. No.
Okay. I mean that's fair. I can't tell you I was paying as much attention to who that was as I should have. But okay, that makes sense then. So Luca is in Copenhagen as a teacher or a student or whatever else at that place.
Mhm.
Whatever isn't
Mhm.
because I'm assuming Copenhagen is like a school, right?
Yeah,
Is it
yeah.
not? Like a okay, whatever.
Mhm.
Anyway, um, with that said, are they trying to allude to something with Richie and oh girl, the expo girl?
Yeah,
What's her name?
I think that's fair to say.
I like them. They seem, and I also want to say they seem to really um like Richie. For that
Yeah,
week he was
yeah.
there, he really left an impression, and I thought that was really cool. because they were really happy to see him.
that's who they need to poach for the new restaurant.
I know, right? They might.
Yeah.
They
Yeah, they
might.
might.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. It might not just be Sydney. Well, at this point, it might close. Like, are we ready to get there? Because we broke, baby. We ain't got no money.
So yeah, we don't have any money. Like I will say this: the one uneasy feeling that I have about this season is that it had a cliffhanger ending, and
I didn't like it.
I can't. Yeah, I was. Thank you. I was about to say I don't even know if I care enough to be like,
I
oh
didn't like it.
well, let me go back and review the reviews, and let me go back to see the text messages and like whether or not the reviews are good, and like I don't even think I care enough.
Mm-mm. I didn't like that. I didn't like it to be continuing ending at all. Like, it worked for Spider-Man. It did not work for the bear. I didn't like it at all.
No,
I hated it, actually.
no.
I didn't like it at all. But with that said, Computer, how did you like him as a character? I personally liked him. I don't like that he doesn't have
Yeah,
a soul per se, but I
yeah,
do like him as a
yeah.
character.
Computer was a funny character. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was a funny
He
character.
was so matter of fact. It was just like, hey, do you need a pastry chef? I mean, do you really need a pastry chef? But when he said 850K, I almost like fell to my knees in Publix because I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And it's so wasteful. And I've never owned a restaurant, right? But I have managed money. And Sugar is the project manager.
Yeah,
Kind of slash accountant, kind of like she's the money person,
yeah,
kind of. Okay.
yeah.
I understand that Carmen is a genius in this situation. He knows what it takes to get a star. He's the only person that has a star. I get that. I do not understand why Sugar doesn't rein him in. And I mean rein him in. I mean, like, hey, full out, no. I understand this is what you need for this, and this, but this is the amount of money you have for whatever else. You can't just go out and buy whatever else. And did you see like how my first thought, he's just throwing a plate in the thing. I was like, oh, those expensive. What are you
Those are the
doing?
expensive ass plate.
What are we doing? It's just like it's like you would think that he would know that this is the kind of stuff you do in a test kitchen. And I'm sure you want to know this tastes magnificent, right? But if I am testing something, then I might not use these super fresh ingredients, right? I might just say, okay, well, let me just get this and see what the flavor profile is like. Oh, if this is good, when I elevate it, it's going to be great. But this isn't my test. I don't use Wagyu beef for my test, right? Like just for presentation to see how it looks. I just say, let me try this first. And again, maybe I don't have a Michelin star. I don't know what it takes to get a Michelin star. It just felt like they were being very, 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 very wasteful, right? The cauliflower, I don't think that's wasteful. It was a bunch of it, right? Tina had a whole lot. They made it clear, like, you get all the cauliflower you want. So if she's testing that, that's fine. You go get that down at the farmer's market. But this is stuff that they're shipping in. This is very expensive beef. This is very expensive, whatever the sauces are and all these ingredients. And he's talking about this butter and all this stuff. And I'm like, why isn't somebody like, hey, you have to figure out either how to make this work or repurpose it, because you just wasting this food and throwing these fancy plates and chipping them doesn't make sense. It's very wasteful. This is how we get 850K in the hole.
So 2 points. First of which is like, it made me immediately wonder how much money Cicero has if he has 85K to lose, but also
850.
it
When at
wouldn't.
850?
Yeah, 850.
Yeah.
Yeah, 850. Yeah. Also, using the best ingredients, no Papa John's, wouldn't be an issue if you just reuse the ingredients. If you make one menu per night and you don't use it ever again, that's not sustainable. That
Exactly.
is not sustainable.
Exactly. That's why I don't understand. And again, the non-negotiables, fine, but change the menu every day is something somebody should have said no. That is not,
No,
if that is something that is
no.
non-negotiable, I cannot be a part of this because that is not going to work. There's no reason anybody should have said, I'm not willing to do this. And then they have 3 people quit because they didn't want to
Mhm.
be in a dysfunctional
Yeah,
kitchen. So you already
yeah,
short staffed. You see what I'm saying?
yeah.
Tina back there fighting for her life.
And by the way, one guy who quit was like smoking crack in the
There,
alley. He was like, "This is
there.
too much for me." Oh, meth. Excuse
So
me,
it may have been crack.
methamphetamines.
I don't know. Either way,
And
crack
he
or
was
meth.
like, "This is too much for me." Yeah.
I can't do this. So you had to fire somebody for smoking meth. You're in a dysfunctional kitchen. You're short staffed. I think the servers quit. Those were the ones that quit, the servers.
Hmm.
And Tina back
Yeah,
there
the
fighting for
service.
her life. And then Carmi's barking orders at her every 5 seconds. Um, what are we doing? Refire. No, I had to do it last time. Do it again. And I'm like, okay, so that's another wasted however
Hmm.
many dollar plate, because I'm assuming these plates are very expensive. I mean, and I don't mean just
Hmm.
the actual plate. I mean the plate of food. So you're
Hmm.
paying. That's a if it's a $80 plate. I'm just lowballing it. $80 plate. You just threw $80 in the trash right there. That adds
Hmm.
up. If you keep refiring, you keep refiring, you keep
Hmm.
refiring. This is getting ridiculous. So I don't know. So my question is, are they going to close? Like, what's going to happen? It's very clear that Uncle Cicero doesn't want to pull the plug. But what are we going to do? Because computer said we won't have the money. So what do we do? Do we pull the plug and let Sydney go work forever, and then Sydney hires everybody to come work for her? And if so, what
So
happens
this,
there? Do we just go
so
full circle
this,
back to the sandwich shop?
I don't know. This is what I thought from like season 2 and from episode 1 of this season. He doesn't realize it yet, but Carmi is his happiest when he's cooking.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see a world where Sydney is the executive chef and Carmi is like the chef de cuisine or whatever. Sorry, I'm not up on my French brigade,
He's the cook.
but yeah, I could see a situation where he just like wants to cook and like rediscover like what he loves because he's not. And I think, all right, so fake TV writer brain, how how fulfilling would it be if I have trained you up so well that you not only surpass the master, but I could like pass you the reins and like this is you now. Like, like you can be the one to create the dishes now. And I just take your lead and I just cook.
But yeah, because that's what he wants to do, right?
Right.
Yeah, I would. But has he done that? He hadn't done that, right? I don't feel like he's done
No,
that.
but but no, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I think this season and those flashbacks are alluding to.
3.5.
Like when he was just doing the kitchen work, he
Mm-hmm.
was at his happiest.
Mm-hmm. He was when he had to. He got mean when he was giving orders. You're
Mhm.
right. Yeah. Well, when we saw him cooking, when he was being berated, that was sad. But yeah, when he was in Copenhagen, just cooking, he
Mhm.
was having the time of his life. I think that'll work. Right quick, we got to go back to Donna.
Yeah.
Sugar is great. She's also exhausting to me. Um, for all the crap she gives Donna, she's also very, very like she's a lot. She's a lot. And as far as her
She's
birthing
her
episode,
mama's daughter. Yeah.
she is. As far as her birthing episode, um, I understand why she was reluctant to call Donna. I get it. I also think it was a dumb idea to know you were going into labor and then to get into traffic.
Don't
That's
get your
just
ass in
that's
the
just
car.
me. Like
Don't.
just stay where you are and get some help. But she did it. It's fine. Whatever. But I also think it's unfair um to call somebody or to be around somebody and then be angry at them for being who they are. Right? We
Mm,
know Donna's a lot. You know Donna's a lot. So if you call Donna and she comes to wherever you are being herself, you cannot be angry with her for being who she is,
mm,
even if it's too much. That's just how it is. So like if you call me sugar because you're mad because you can't get anybody else, that's not my fault. And like she was reluctant to get any help from Donna from the jump. And I'm like, girl, I know you're in labor and I know that's a lot. And it's fair because you're sad and you don't have Pete, whatever else. But if you're going to ask for her help, you got to let her do
mm,
it. Like you just gotta let
mm.
her do it. And then be okay. Like you're making it worse. Like Donna was making, I mean not Donna, Sugar was making it worse. All Donna did was walk up and she was
Yeah.
already, I'm like, God, she ain't even done that this time. Give her a second to make you yell at her, but it's just, I don't know. I
No.
think it was
Yeah, I
cool
feel you.
that she had the self realization that I asked people, are they okay too much and blah 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 blah. So she knows, but yeah, like I said, she can be a lot sometimes. It's just a bit exhausting. And she got it from her mom, I know,
No,
but still.
no, I agree that that episode, to me, like I would rather like lay my hands down on the table and have like each finger just smashed with a hammer than to watch that episode again. That episode was like painfully annoying,
Torture.
and
Yeah.
I do not want to watch it again. No, thank you. No, thank
It
you.
was torture. It was hard to watch and it was very long. Like I remember watching it thinking, dang, this is very long. And it was one of the longer episodes. And I don't understand why it had to be so long. I guess
This
because
episode's long as hell
Donna was
for
telling her
no
birth
reason.
story, but it was very long. And I'm like, we didn't have to do this. We could have just told a story and let Sugar have a baby and moved on with our
Yeah.
lives. We could have. I don't know. I don't there's something else I wanted to bring up. Um I think I just want him to be free. Him being
Mhm,
Carmen. Like I do. I just want him
mhm.
to be able to do whatever it is he wants to do without everybody else's expectations. And I say everybody else's because I believe maybe it's just what he thinks everybody else expects of him. Because I'm not necessarily sure anybody has asked him to do any of this. He just
Yeah.
decided. You know, he just decided, except for the star. And that's still a decision he made. Like you're the one that decided you wanted
Mm,
to try to do it. So nobody forced you. You can't be mad at
mm.
Sydney for wanting it, but you could
I
have
mean,
easily stuck with no.
he said it was a trap, and then he was like, "No, we getting the star," and then she was
We
like,
doing it.
oh,
Yeah. She's like, I thought you
yeah,
didn't want that. You didn't do it. And oh, that's what I wanted to bring up too. Sydney's one of her worst traits is that she's impatient. So the fact that she hasn't signed the contract, I think it would be a misstep for them to have her sign it, like a writing misstep, because her impulsiveness is like the thing she's almost known for at this point. So her not signing the contract means she doesn't want to do it. And I say that,
I
and I
feel
think
like
it's go ahead.
I feel like I know her enough to know how that conversation is gonna go. She's gonna be like, well, so hey man, I have like this thing to like tell you, like Adam, like, and I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. But Adam, like, asked me to be like his chef, and I'm not gonna do it. I just want to like tell you so you would know it. And then Carmen's gonna be like, where did this come from? Like, why didn't you tell me? And then all of a
Mhm.
sudden, because their communication is so shitty, now they're beefing.
Okay. So is she gonna go or not? Like I said, I think it would be a writing misstep,
I
and I
don't I
will
don't I
say
don't think I don't think she wants to go. That's the
I
thing.
don't think she wants to go either. I think she very much wants to stay, but as far as the writing goes, I think they can do it well. I'm not a writer. I'm just saying as far as if I were writing a story, if I were going to have her stay. Well, I guess it works out because she didn't tell Adam yes immediately either. But I think it almost stamped that she's impatient because even when it came to the apartment, she had already signed it before she asked her dad, anything about it. Which means she is very impatient. So this, I guess, is trying to prove that she doesn't. she's very unsure. I don't know. I don't know what it's saying. I don't know, man. She didn't.
I don't know.
She. I don't know. Because she's done everything else. Like even her restaurant. She admitted that it was premature. It wasn't. It didn't make sense. She did it anyway. Um, she signed the apartment anyway. The dish with her uh beef dish, the cola, whatever that she sent out to the person, she did that anyway. So she just do stuff.
I
So her
got
not
it. Bear
doing
season
these
4.
things.
Bear season 4. The So when she starts at the new restaurant that rises from the ashes of ever, the food critic will come in and be her sous chef. And the cycle just continues. And then she's gonna be like, the dish isn't ready. Then the food chef is gonna send out a dish to like someone else, probably
To
Sam
who?
Fat. And
Marcus.
then no, I'm joking.
To
Yeah,
Marcus.
Marcus.
She'll send to
And
Marcus,
then
and then Marcus is gonna
then
be a
he's gonna be
chef.
like, this is the best. Yeah. But no, I'm
This
joking.
is
Yeah.
the best donut I've ever had in my life. How does it go? I mean, because that's pretty much the season wrapped up. Sydney's having a panic attack. Oh, I thought they were gonna do the thing. I thought you remember
I thought so. I
when
thought so too.
Carmi had his panic attack, and he's having
Mhm,
all these visions, and the thing that calmed him down was seeing Sydney. I thought they were
mhm.
gonna do that again, but I thought he was going to show up because I kept wondering. I was like, well, why isn't he here?
Yeah, I was like,
Everybody
why
else
is
is
he
here. Why
there?
isn't he
Yeah.
here? I thought he was going to show up while she was having the attack and then, like her calm down, which would have, put everybody else back in the hole, oh, they're in game or whatever. But they didn't. It actually, they really didn't show what calmed her down. She just kind of calmed down on her own. So, does season 4 start with her at the new restaurant, or does it pick up right where we are with the reviews? Like, what do we go with for season 4? And how long we gotta wait?
Okay. So they filmed 3 and 4 back to back.
I know, but
So it's just a matter. Well, not I'm not even gonna say back to back. They filmed it all together. So
together,
I
yeah.
I can't. Yeah. So I can't even tell you. I mean, I feel like just for um I don't know. All right, because
Mind you.
if we yeah, mind you, but no, because I'm thinking back on Atlanta, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking about how, if I'm not mistaken, there wasn't a full year between 3 and 4.
I don't
There
think it
was like
was.
6 months. So I feel like there is a world, because season 3 had such a mild reception, that like, here
Mid.
you go.
You being calm.
I'm being nice, but no, I can see a world, because all right, so this dropped June 27th.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We might see some trailers like spring 2025. Instead of waiting for the summer. Like I feel like I feel like they might drop it a little early.
Atlanta dropped March 24th, 2022, and then season
Mhm.
4 came September. So, and they're both FX on Hulu.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like it's a
So you're right.
similar situation.
You're right. It could, and I'm
Like
and I'm
I feel like
hoping.
it's not going to be the full year. It's probably going to be 6 to 8 months. Yeah,
I'm hoping
it
because
needs to be.
I would like it, and it needs to be the end. I'm okay with it being end. Well, I'll say this: if they do season 4 well, where a season 5 makes sense, I don't think I'd be mad. But I want it to make sense. I don't want it to be just a show for the sake of just having it.
Mm,
I mean, because how much story can you
mm.
tell? I just,
'Cause
I think I wish this season would have been more like the Fishes, right?
yeah,
Because the Fishes was a backstory, and it was backstory that was pertinent information to me. I think they very
yeah,
well
yeah.
could have given us more of that with this, and like not doing it and just giving us that one Tina episode just seems so weird because
Mm.
why? Like,
Mhm.
Why Tina? Of all the people, of all the characters, why Tina? We haven't got any story on Ibra. We've got the story of the baseball stuff for sweeps. So we know stuff about them, but like just feel like there could have been a more interesting story than Tina's. Nothing against Tina. But I just feel like
Mhm.
if we were doing backstories, it should have been.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have given us Mikey, and I guess that kind of works because it was
Yeah.
Mikey with Tina. So you know,
So here's what I want. All right, because I don't know if you recall, but this show wasn't promised a season two. I don't think they realized like how popular it was. So it was written in a way that when season one ended, that was the story.
I was
Like
okay with that.
it I was okay with that. So what I'm saying is for season four, I want it written in a way that is that basically instead of like taking it like the full length, we're gonna take it like 3/4 of the way. Like this is satisfactory up until this point, but we're gonna leave a little bit if we want to tell some more story. But also if we decide to not do a season five,
Mhm.
you're satisfied with this. And the thing that I think could present some trouble with them going into like a potential season five is like, I mean, Rich is in the MCU now, so like his filming schedule, like that's and also like Io is like I literally just saw this before we hopped on. Like she's about to be in a movie with like Julia Roberts and like Andrew Garfield. So yeah, she's booked up,
Oh,
and
she go.
Jeremy Allen White is about to be booked up. So I feel like it should end at 4. I hope it
Mhm.
ends at 4,
Do
and
you
that's all I say.
how do you feel about it going full circle into it just being the bear again? Because they made it a point to show us that the sandwiches are fine. Like they're still selling sandwiches. And once Ebro got some help, he was happy, and that was flowing perfectly. Other than them being out of seafolds.
Mm.
So how does that work? How does it work where it goes back around? The bear is the restaurant. No, I'm sorry, not the bear. The beef is the restaurant. The bear closes, and then Sydney goes on to do whatever the ever baby is.
I can I can see that because I feel like as I mean, I don't know how it looks, but I feel like this is the one thing that I could definitely say will probably be true. I feel like as Carmi like uh, basically unpacks like his family trauma, like his relationship with the restaurant is gonna change in some way. Or he'll
Hmm.
either be like, I love this thing, I want to continue it, or I'm gonna do it how I'm gonna leave it how Mike left. I don't know how which
See,
way it will go, but I think like as he like works on himself, his relationship with the restaurant will definitely change in some way.
I think it's like I think I would be okay if he realizes that he can have what Mikey wanted. It doesn't have to be more than that. He could be
Mm,
happy with the beef because that's what he wanted. That's what because Mikey was like, why a restaurant? And he was like, well, why not a restaurant? Like he doesn't always have to be this big grand thing. It could just be you cooking. And it could even expand to more, like it could still be the beef, but it can expand to maybe a few more dishes. You know what I mean? Like it could be more of a restaurant. It doesn't have to be this fancy place with a Michelin star. And then Sid
mhm,
can have her place that's fancy with a Michelin star, and
mm.
whoever wants to be with her can go. Like Sweeps can be there. He's. I'm just taking everybody. And Andrew, I mean, what's his name? Andy Shapiro. Is it Andy? Adam.
Adam.
Adam. Adam Shapiro is just gonna have to take my whole staff because the people who want to be there, they got a job. Richie can work
Mhm.
there. Sweeps can work there. The facts could be at the other restaurant. Because he ain't been for it. That man went and poured broth on the meal and brought it back to the kitchen.
I will say that's my favorite scene from the entire season. Like
I
that
said,
cracked me up.
I said, Fat, put it down. Neil Jeff, put it down.
Like
He
he's
said,
like
"I
it's like
will
what
pour the
it's
broth
like
in
we're a
front of you.
restaurant. What were you doing? We're a
I'm
restaurant.
gonna
Like
pour,
take
gonna pour the broth in front of you." He took the people food back to the kitchen. Bless his heart. Bless his heart. But yeah, I don't think it's gonna end badly. I think I hope they had an ending in mind and that it wasn't just season one ending and then blah. Because again, FX on Hulu has a way of taking greatness and turning it to their horse drawing. Where it starts out magnificent
yeah,
and then it ends up
yeah.
the stick figure. FX on Hulu is notorious for that. We can list off a few shows where that happened, but they also get it right sometimes because again, if you haven't watched Devs, you should.
Yeah, you should.
It's magnificent. Yeah,
But yeah,
that's it. That's all I have.
we
I hope
will
it's
end we will end here and I'll say now that I've discovered this principle called free time, we'll be back a lot more. We will do a lot more of these. Well, no comment, but yeah, we will we will do a lot more of these. But yeah, let us know what you're watching. It's some stuff that's coming out soon that we'll probably recap. Not Severance though, but anyway. Yeah, let us know what you're watching. Let us know what you think about this season of The Bear. But yeah, that's all we got. So we'll stop here and say until next time.
peace.
Peace.